guys, Brandon here with Exotic Cars 19 with the video I've been wanting to make for quite a while. So the last 5 videos I've made now have been regarding the GT350 because I just picked it up a couple weeks ago, so obviously I'm going to upload some videos, but I'm kind of limited with how much I can upload right now because I am currently at 855 miles, and if you guys have been keeping up with me, you guys know I want to get 1,000 miles of braking period before I push it too far over 4,000 RPM. I've already got to 5,000 briefly, but yeah, what I'd like to do is go to 1,000 miles, get an oil change, and then we can really beat on it the way it was intended to. So anyway, I'm just going on this drive for one, to make this video, and I'm doing it in this car just to rack up some miles. So hopefully by the end of today, at the end of this drive, I'll have maybe 900, 950, maybe even 1,000. Then I'll like to get an oil changed, and then paint protection film. That's still taking a while, but correction, paint protection film, and then the thing will be ready to take a beating. But anyway, back to today's video. Like I said, I've been wanting to make this video for a while because it's a very interesting topic. As the title suggests, I want to talk about 5 cars I consider to be supercars that I think would make for decent investments, meaning you can enter and exit without losing any money, if not actually make some money while owning these cool cars. Why do I not own any? Because these are kind of out of my reach, or if they're in my reach price-wise, I just can't necessarily have that as my only car. But anyway, so in no particular order, there's obviously a lot more than 5 cars you could get today that will do decent in the market, very good in the market, that is. But these are 5 cars that I think maybe some people might not have thought about, or if they have, I don't know, just a new take on it, I guess. So 5 cars, and in the order I'm gonna do this is not like best to worst or worst to best investment, and what my opinion, I'm just gonna go from the price you could pick it up now, cheapest to most expensive. Cheapest, I use that very, very lightly. So without any further ado, 5 cars I think are going to do good in the market. Let's start with the one that is the most obtainable, I guess you could say, and that would be a Dodge Viper ACR. Not the newest one. The newest one I think will do good in the market as well, but I think that's a little bit more predictable. It's kind of hard to call that an investment car right now because they're not going for a sticker. You can find new ones still in the showroom floors. Some of them are asking like 160, 170. That's a bit ridiculous. So yes, in the long run, I think the new Viper ACRs will do good in the market. But no, I'm talking about a 2009 Viper ACR. In case you didn't see my owner's review with the Viper, the Copperhead Edition, I actually said that then as well. And the reason I said that is because unlike most cars, let's say Corvette, the current C7Z06 is a badass car. I mean, no question about that, unless you're like a diehard Ford guy or something. Everyone should admit the C7Z06 is great, but they're not gonna do that great in the market, at least not for a very long time, because the ZR1 is coming, and whatever the C8 ends up being, yada, 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 you see where I'm going, we're gonna have a incredible car come out very soon from Corvette that's gonna make the current C7Z06 not as, I don't know, relevant, if you will. And so the prices will keep dropping, and that's common with a lot of cars. But in the Viper's case, what I said in that video was the water rises all boats. I think because the new Viper ACR is so good, for example, the first and only so far, from what I know, attempt the Dodge Viper, the new ACR had at the Burger King, did a 704. That's stupid. I think I'm hilarious. The Viper, the new ACR on its first and only attempt, from what I know, did a 704 on the Nürburgring, which is pretty great. 704 for a manual transmission, naturally aspirated car, making less power than a Z06 by 5 horsepower from what I remember, 645, I believe. A 704 is absolutely nuts. But it's so good that, and obviously for the price it is as well, even for 150 it's good, but I think this is the case that the new ACR is so good that people are going to respect the name that came before it, the Viper before it, a 2009 ACR. And right now you're able to pick them up for less than $80,000. Is not too hard to find one. I will put some, and for the 5 cars I'm going to mention in this video, I found listings on them that if I were in the market right now, which one would I buy? And that's the one I will show you guys right now. So I found a very good looking ACR. Vipers on their own are rare, and ACR, even from 2009, will literally make my day if I saw one on the road, just because of how rare they are. They have the stripe. They're very distinguished from a normal Viper. So anyway, I don't see how that's going to do too bad in the market. I am sure they're done depreciating for whatever they did depreciate. I think from here on out, it might take a little while, but I think it's just a slow, steady growth from here on out. So I think if you had a nice, you know, $90,000 burning a hole in your pocket, and you had an extra spot in your garage, you want a track day hero, I think you could enter that an ownership experience of that car, drive it, track it, sell it, 5 years from now, come up ahead. That's my opinion. Let me know what you guys think. Okay, the second car, moving up on the price, we're talking about a Mercedes SLS. Now, the new AMG GT is superior to the SLS in driving dynamic, trackability, overall just driver confidence, and that's why it's a quicker car on track. But not every Mercedes owner is on track and driving it spiritedly. So I think for the collectible, or for where the market will appreciate more, is on an SLS. And I think they kind of hit their bottom right now. You could pick up an SLS, a clean one, clean history, for roughly about 130 to 140,000 or so. Again, the listing I found, I will put it up now. The SLS, this goes for all SLSs, but mostly the baseline one because it is the cheaper one, but the SLS, the standard one, and all coupes, because the soft top loses the gull wing doors. I think the reason this one's going to do well is because it's a naturally aspirated V8 versus the AMG GT is a twin turbo, which is a great engine, but people are going to respect the naturally aspirated stuff for a long time, I think. And the gull wing doors. Will they bring that back? I'd imagine so, but it's probably going to be on a twin turbocharged car. So to have the naturally aspirated, the good looks of the SLS with the gull wing doors on a coupe, a standard SLS, an SLS Final Edition, like you're saying now that I made a video on, or one of my favorite German cars ever made, the SLS Black Series, but those are already going for like $500,000, so yeah, not talking about that one per se. Okay, you guys knew this one was coming. Third car on the list is the Ferrari 430 Scuderia. If you didn't know that was coming, you must be new around here, because the 430 Scuderia is a car I personally, is so near and dear to my heart. I absolutely love the 430 Scuds for a lot of reasons, especially now with the 488 being the latest of that spot. And you know how the 430 got replaced by a 458, which got replaced by a 488. So when we keep talking about that line of cars, I'm not talking about their V12s or the Hyper, I'm just talking about that main line of cars, forget the California, because that they're going twin turbocharged, and the next one might be twin turbo hybrid. I think people are really going to respect just a pure raw V8. Same with the 458 Italia. I just can't call a 458 Italia a collectible or investment car right now. Maybe in the very, very, very long run, but I think they still have some depreciation to go. I'm talking about the Italias here. Whereas the 430 Scuderia, they obviously made a lot less Scuds, very low thousands, I think. I don't even know if they made more than 2,000. I don't know, but very, very small production numbers on the Scuds. I think they're gorgeous looking, so that's going to be obviously subjective and opinionated. I think they look better than a 458, just a little bit more sleek. That's just me again. I like the sound of a 430 Scuderia better than a 458. Obviously, everybody would like it better than a 488. Twin turbocharged cars are pretty quiet in comparison. Has a single clutch F1 transmission, which sounds like it would be garbage because it is on a F430 and a 599 GTB. The GTOs and the Scuds, however, got some kind of tuning. It is literally a shift that is about the blink of an eye, if not quicker.
Unwind left, squeeze in the throttle, turn car right. Brake, scan it in, turn, balance throttle. Brake straight, eyes up, look where you want to go, turn us in. Little tiptoe in the throttle, nice smooth. Unwind left, squeeze in the throttle.
I was fortunate enough to drive one on track, and yeah, it does not disappoint. It does not feel nearly a decade old at all, and it doesn't look, it doesn't sound it. I think they're going to be great cars. The last 2 years, the market's kind of stagnated. I think they kind of hit their bottom, went up a little bit in the last 2 years. They're kind of staying still right now. A clean example could be about 220 grand or so. I think that's the one I screenshotted on Auto Trader. I think it's a black one with like the gray or silver stripes, about 220 or so. You could find them for less than 200. Clean examples as well. A very, very clean example will probably be about 240, 250. Anything more than that, the dealership is just being silly. But yeah, well under $250,000, well under the price of a brand new Ferrari. I mean, if you're in the market for a California T, I wouldn't be. I would just get a Scud. If I were in the market for a 488, I'd save, you know, 200 grand and just get a Scud. So I think they're going to do better in the market. No warranty. Some do actually, so never mind about that. But overall, I think that that's a car you could buy now, enjoy now, sell it 2 years from now, come up ahead. I really do think that. All right, so the next car on my list is a Ford GT. Obviously not the new one. That one is very expensive as it sits. Will it do better in the market? I don't see them depreciating that heavily, the new ones. But I'm talking about the 2005, 2006 Ford GT. Now, I can kind of sound like well, yeah, they're already appreciating. You kind of missed the boat here, but it's still in my list because I think they have a lot more room to appreciate, and soon as well. I think the new 4GT, like I said about the Viper, it's kind of the water raises all boats. The new 4GT is great, whether you like the EcoBoost or not. Sure, I would probably prefer to have a V8, but it's a great car. It's going to be a great performer. But I think it's going to make people reflect back to the 2005, 2006 4GT because it's a totally different formula and recipe, I guess, that people are going to look back at it and appreciate it more and want to pick them up. If they can't get a 2017 4GT, they might just pick up a 2005, 2006. And I think it's a better car for a purist. Not better car overall, that's very, very, it's very much a blanket statement. It's just not fair. Obviously, the new 4GT is a better track car, but I think as a purist driver's car, I think the 2005, 2006 is a better one. Naturally aspirated supercharged V8. So I think naturally aspirated and supercharged V8s are good. The twin turbo ones, that do it just for, economy reasons and all that stuff and fuel consumption. Those are the ones I don't think will do too well in the market long run. So supercharged V8 and a manual transmission, I think that is going to be what really does it for the 4GT. So right now you can pick them up for even less than $300,000 for a clean example. I think that's the one I'm just going to screenshot here. It should be white with blue stripes. I forgot which one I screenshotted, but yeah, you can find it for well under 300 grand. Very clean example as well. And I think they have a lot of appreciation to go within the next 5 years even. So already the 4GTs with the Golf livery, which was like a $60,000 paint option, are already getting huge premiums, like $450,000 or something like that, which is, I think over the starting price of the new 4GT starting price. But if you get selected to buy that, you just buy it. So forget the starting price of the new 17 GTs. So yeah, 2005, 2006 4GT. That's a pretty good purchase right now. All right, looking down my list here, I just remembered I wrote down 6 cars, not 5. So if I said 5 earlier, I'm correcting myself. But anyway, pretty predictable here, especially if you know me, especially with the 430 Scuderia option. So not too surprisingly, the 5th car here would be a 458 Speciale, or Speciale, however you want to pronounce it. But anyway, so this one could also sound like a little too obvious. Like, yes, they're already doing well in the market, especially the Apertas. But the reason I'm selecting it now is because so many people think that the 458 Speciales are too hard to find below sticker, which is actually not true. Even on Auto Trader, I can find some with like 2,000 miles, less than 5,000 miles, and well under $400,000, which I think it's a pretty decent buy. Do they have more depreciation to go through? I don't know. I wouldn't think so. I mean, you guys chip in your 2 cents. I don't think they're going to depreciate any more than they are now. The only way to make a 458 Speciale worth less is just to put a lot of miles on it. But if we're talking about investments here, which of course I would want to drive my cars, but hey, a 458 Speciale, I think if you could pick it up for like a clean example, well equipped for 380, sometimes even less, like this one right here. I think this one I'm screenshotting was like 370 something, 375, 379, something like that. I think that's a car that you could buy now, maybe don't enjoy as much as I don't like to say that. You kind of preserve the miles on it, and I think you could probably sell it a couple years from now for well into the 400s, maybe even like 450. I know the 458 Speciale Apertas are already asking for like, I don't know, some premiums like 650, 750. Sometimes more, but that's what they're asking for. They're not necessarily selling for that. So anyway, 458 Speciale, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend that one because you probably have to preserve the miles versus like the other ones I mentioned. You could probably drive it for a few thousand miles and get away with it. All right, in the 6th and final car on my list. Now just remember, this is not in order from what I think is the worst to best investment. This is just as price goes up. And the final one is a Porsche Carrera GT. Now again, just like the 4GT, that might have some people say, well, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. You kind of missed the boat there. Because yes, when they came out back in like 2005 or whatever their years were, from where they are now, it's near double their MSRP. So yes, they've already appreciated, but the reason I mentioned it now is obviously because there's still some room to go. Now, this isn't like, obviously I think a Ferrari F40 is also going to keep going, but the reason I'm mentioning the Carrera GT, I'll put it this way. If you put me in a time capsule in 2005 and I just woke up and it's 2017, and you were to tell me, hey, Ferrari Enzos are selling for $3 to $4 million, Pagani Zondas are well over $2 to $3 million, what do you think the Carrera GT is? I would be like, oh shoot, I don't know, 2 million, 3 million? And then surprise, no, it's like 700,000, if not a lot less. So with that said, it's got all the things to make it worth a lot of money. It's got a naturally aspirated V10 that was first developed for a race car. They ended up throwing it into a production car. So naturally aspirated, big win, V10, even more. And then a manual transmission. It's a car that wants to kill you, which is obviously not how cars are made anymore. So I think that's the most recent car we can say they don't make them like that anymore. Obviously, we could say that about like 70s, you know, muscle cars and all that stuff. But I think the Porsche Carrera GT is the most recent made where we could look at and go, yeah, they don't make them like that anymore. I mean, I don't even think I had like traction control from what I remember. You guys will correct me, this is YouTube, so. But I'm pretty sure it was not too safe, especially if you weren't too awake when driving it. So with all that said, right now you could pick them up for some not so clean examples with higher mileage, over 30,000. You can pick them up for the 500 something, 580, 590 or so. But if you want an investment, you want to pick up a clean example, not like the one of one paint job that's over $1 million. You don't want to overpay for a Carrera GT. But yeah, let me show you guys how to buy a Carrera GT. Yeah, believe me. No, anyway, if I were buying a Porsche Carrera GT, I'd probably buy one with maybe less than 7,000 miles, more like 5 or 6, or maybe less than 10 for sure. A clean one you can't go wrong with. There's a lot of silver ones out there, some red ones, some black ones, and you can pick them up for anywhere from like $600,000 to $700,000. I would say 660 and you're pretty good, and that's a clean Carrera GT. And I think these things will be impossible to find below $1 million within a decade, maybe, and 10 years from now. It'd be very hard, maybe more than that. 10 to 15 years, I think you'd be hard pressed to find one for less than $1 million. That's my take, and that's kind of the point of this video. Is I think it'd be very interesting to kind of see where the market is now, my predictions here, and kind of revisit this video in like 5 to 10 years if I remember this video. 5 to 10 years from now, revisit this video, see where the market's kind of shifted, and see what else is new out there. But anyway, kind of a fun video. So this was a list of 6 cars I think are going to do decent in the market. I am not recommending investing in cars because I think they are meant to be driven first and foremost. But if I had the money and I had the room, I would like to buy these cars to enjoy and not worry about depreciation. I think these are 6 cars that you'd be pretty safe with. Let me know, and obviously there's plenty of honorable mentions. Any cars that you think are good, made after the year 2000 to kind of keep it somewhat relevant, that you think are going to do very good in the market, let me know in the comment section below. Obviously, number 1 would be a 2017 GT350. These things are probably going to be worth $250,000 within the next 5 years. That's guaranteed. No, but honestly, guys, just let me know what you guys think is going to do well in the market, and it'll be kind of fun to revisit this video in this comment section years from now and kind of see where things have moved. But anyway, that does it for this video. Hopefully the next video will be where I am over 1,000 miles, and we'll be beating on this thing quite a bit more. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great day.